If you go to liliespad.ca right now, you will find a link to this. We've started a liliespad.ca bookstore so that when we're talking about books, you will be able to find it. One of the books you'll be able to find there is Behind the Green Mask. It is a book that you need to read. It's on Agenda 21, an issue that we have been following for some time, and its author, Rosa Koire, joins us now from San Francisco to talk about this UN framework that looks to take over your local government. Rosa, good to speak to you. I wonder if you can start off by telling the audience your definition of Agenda 21.
Agenda 21 is the action plan. It's the blueprint to inventory and control all land, water, minerals, plants, animals, construction, means of production, education, information, and human beings in the world. It's a totally comprehensive plan, and it's right there in your town right now.
Well, and I keep being told it's not real. We spoke to Glenn Beck recently. We spoke to Elizabeth Nixon, and then people say, "Oh, you're going on that hoax." Well, this is from the UN's website. It's Review of Implementation of Agenda 21. It's a UN report. Then you've got Resilient People, Resilient Planet. There are 47,900 references to Agenda 21 on the Government of Canada website. But the spookier thing is, you're right, they're going into the towns, and that's part of the plan, isn't it? Get into towns, and it's bureaucrat to bureaucrat so that our politicians often don't even know about it.
It's a global plan, but it's implemented locally. And so that's, it's a global, regional, neighborhood plan. So that's how you see it. And you're going to see it there. Of course, it's in Canada, and you're going to see it as, it'll be Smart Growth Plans and Wildlands Project. So you'll see it as Imagine Calgary or Horizon 2067 in Ottawa or Winnipeg.
Let's show people the Winnipeg plan right now, and they talk about changing your neighborhood. And here it is: possible transformation of neighborhood mixed-use corridor following complete community principles. And it shows you what the street looks like now and what it could look like. And it makes it look like, everyone's got nice, normal cafes, get rid of suburbia. And some people might say, well, what's the big deal? One, it's for the environment. And two, I like the way that looks. What's the problem with Agenda 21 working its way into your neighborhood?
Well, Agenda 21 really is the hijacking of the environmental movement. And there in Canada, you have the Federal Sustainable Development Act, which mandates sustainable development principles in every federal agency. And there's about more than $500 million in federal funds going to implement these plans. And
plans
of course,
that are made elsewhere, right?
Oh, this is a worldwide plan. Your plan, for instance, whatever plan it is in whatever part of Canada, is the same plan in the United States. It's the same as the Hanoi Regional Center 2030 plan. These plans are all the same plan.
Help us understand then how this comes about, that it's all the same plan, because I've been to these meetings and where you're told, well, we want to do smart growth, it's sustainable. They use buzzwords that sound good, but you're right, it is the same plan. It will make everything look the same, and they're talking about making everything looking the same in suburbia.
Yeah, it's not even so much about looking the same, although smart growth is high density development on transit lines. What it's really about is inventorying and controlling. And it's also about creating artificial scarcity. So it's about limiting your access to your resources. That's the wildland element of the project. And then smart growth, which restricts your ability to use your land. And so when it's federally subsidized high-density development in the centers of your cities, and then you have these charrettes or these visioning projects, which you're invited to come and give your opinion on that great new Imagine Calgary plan, which is the same plan that you'll see all across the world. You're given the impression that you're crafting that plan yourself, but in fact, you are actually being directed to a predetermined outcome using a mind control technique.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come by. We'll talk about that. It's called the Delphi technique, and it's part of this process. More with Rosa Koire in a moment.
I felt exactly like you did when you first heard it, you were like, come on, that's conspiracy. Because, I mean, who names something Agenda 21? So I didn't believe it. And we started doing our research, and it's so overwhelmingly out in the open, you can't believe that nobody else is looking. We have to get this out in every format we can, because who's going to read 2,000 pages from the UN?
That was our interview with Glenn Beck earlier. And if you remember in that interview, Glenn said he is like this with a Liberal Democrat in the States that's fighting this back. Rosa Koire is that Liberal Democrat. She joins us again from San Francisco. Rosa, I want to ask you quickly about the Delphi technique and then get on to Environment Canada doing away with dams and why that is. So explain the Delphi technique while we still have a couple minutes here.
Yeah, this is a technique that you're going to see. Of course, it won't be called the Delphi technique by anyone, and just like you'll never see Agenda 21 called Agenda 21 in these meetings. But it's a meeting where you're invited to come and give your opinion on that cool new plan for the center of your town. And you go in, and it's it's all set up with tables, and you've got your crayons and your little gold stars, and you get to say basically what you want to see. Well, sprawl, which is where many people live, if you live in a single-family home, that's considered unsustainable. That's business as usual, and you're not supposed to choose that. You're supposed to choose your planned future. And so this plan actually directs public opinion while giving them the impression that their input is actually being listened to. And I'll tell you, if you go into those meetings and you dissent, you will quickly find that your opinion is not really crafting this plan. This plan is actually being used to propagandize you and to shut you up if you consider that this is not your idea for what you want to see in your town.
And if you think that Rosa's being foolish in what she's saying there, I've been to some of these meetings. You speak up, you go off the rails. Quickly, Environment Canada getting rid of dams, and this is in a Government of Canada plan. Why would they do that?
Yeah, well, reservoirs, this is the opinion of Environment Canada. Reservoirs emit too many greenhouse gas emissions, and so the plan is for dam removal, which you are seeing, of course, across the United States. And, Canada has 20% of the world's fresh water, and uses hydroelectric, but this is not considered to be sustainable because it's producing greenhouse gas emissions. So Canadians are expected to reduce their water usage, their water consumption.
Because we're running out of water
40%.
so quickly? We're running out of water in Canada?
It's a renewable resource too, yeah. And what else do you guys have besides timber, water, oil, gas, water? So
all the stuff they don't want us to use. So is this a loss of sovereignty? Because you look at these plans, this one here, this report, that report. Canada and every other country that signs on to this has to report back to the UN.
That's exactly right. This is about inventory and control. And globalization is the standardization of systems. So this requires uniformity in all systems, whether it's education, law enforcement, government, energy, all have to be harmonized, all laws. And that means more inventory and control of you. That's what the plan is about.
All right, so that includes things like, we've got about 30 seconds left, Codex, I can never say it, Codex Alimentarius.
Alimentarius. Codex Alimentarius.
That is another UN plan that you say is part of this. It is a real thing as well, and that's standardizing our food, our vitamins, everything. That's
right. Yes, it's all over. You'll see it, that Bill C-30, that is Agenda 21. This is what it looks like.
Bill C-30. Wow.
Yes.
Rosa, good talking to you again, and we'll have you back on. Thanks so much for all the work that you do and for keeping an eye on Canada from your perch in California. All the best.
Thank you.
All right. Well, folks, I've been saying forever we need to get out of the UN. We need to drop the United Nations system. And people will say, this isn't real. Look, I've got the report from the UN here. You can do a search. You can do your own search on the Government of Canada website. 47,900 references to Agenda 21, 181,000 references to sustainable development. It's real, it's there. The plan to have the UN determine what our protein content in our beef or what our vitamins are, that is there as well. You can find out more, including Behind the Green Mask, the book by Rosa Koire at the Lily's Pad bookstore. You can find the link at lilyspad.ca. Now, the reason that we're building this bookstore, partnering with Amazon, so you're not dealing with anyone you don't know, it's amazon.ca. Partnering with them, you can find my book, you can find Ezra's book, Michael Coren's books are there, environmental books, American and Canadian conservative books. It's so that we can help you in the attempt to build community, to arm you with the facts. Go to lilyspad.ca, find the link, get your Christmas shopping done. More to come.